Hey, what's going on, everybody? From a frigid but sunny Chicago, Illinois, the third largest city in the United States, it's The Drive with Mario Smith. I am Mario Smith. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of the show today. We really appreciate you being here on Backchannel.tv. As I said, I'm in Chicago, Illinois. Joining me from Portland, Oregon is my man, Jay Gliss. What's up, Gliss? I can't hear you. What happened to you? Where'd you go?
How about that?
There you are. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. Good to hear your voice. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's also sunny and beautiful here, but very cold also. Probably not as quite as cold as there, but
What are you working with there, temperature wise?
it's I think it's in the 40s or something like
Oh
that.
man, stop playing games.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, okay. It's 14 degrees and the
Yeah,
wind chill is 0.
Whew, that's
And
chilly.
it's going to be minus 19 overnight. Wind chill.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
going to
good.
feel like minus 19. So
That's
whatever.
cool.
I got on my shorts, I have a t-shirt, and I have something to show you. I made sure that I pulled this out today.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Is that a cap jersey?
Yes, it is.
Nice, sir.
See?
That's awesome.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. Let me get that over there. I'm with you. I just, I can't unveil all my arsenal yet.
That's good.
Give me some time. We want to welcome everybody that is watching on Backchannel.tv. What's up, Davey in Texas? How you doing, my friend? If you're watching us on YouTube or if you're listening to us on an Amazon supported device, thank you so much for being a part of the drive today. You are passengers on it. There's so much stuff happening in the world right now that up until the time I punched in, I was still looking at stories and whatnot and things to talk about today. So we're going to try to get to everything. I cannot promise that we will, but we will definitely try to. Again, there is a lot happening. Santosh in New Jersey, both new folks. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the show. Kobe from, you know where Kobe's from, Alabama. Roll Tide.
Alabama.
Roll Tide. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. If you haven't heard, or today is your first day ever checking out the drive, let me just tell you, there's a lot that goes on this show. We've got some stuff to come in the future for sure. Nothing crazy, cool stuff. And if this is your first day checking out Back Channel and you've been here all day, thank you. Really appreciate that. You can start your day with Back Channel at 6 a.m. Eastern with Haley and Allison. And then at 8 a.m., it's Liv Harrison. And after that, it's Jan and Renee at 10 Eastern. At noon Eastern time, it's Sir Anthony Davis. I think I've knighted him. I don't know if he's happy about that or not. We'll have to find out. After Sir Anthony Davis, my pal Hal starts at 2 Eastern, and then we join you at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And we really, truly appreciate everybody being on the drive with us. Let's get to it. It's time to take a look at what is happening around, I'm sorry, not around the world. It's time to take a look at what's happening at this hour. In a very sad story coming out of New York, from Harlem, a second NYPD officer dies after the shooting in Harlem. A New York City police officer gravely wounded last week, shooting that killed his partner, has also died of his injuries, police said Tuesday. Officer Wilbert Mora, 27, died at a Manhattan hospital 4 days after he and Officer Jason Rivera were shot while responding to a domestic disturbance call. Quote, "It's with great sadness that I announce the passing of police officer Wilbert Mora," NYPD Commissioner Keechant Sewell said in a tweet. Wilbert is 3 times a hero for choosing a life of service, for sacrificing his life to protect others, for giving life even in death through organ donation. Our heads are bowed and our hearts are heavy. Mora entered the police academy in October 2018 and was assigned to Harlem's 32nd precinct since November 2019. He had made 33 arrests, police records show. The 2 officers were fatally wounded Friday after they were called into a Harlem apartment by a woman who said she needed help with her adult son. The gunman, LaShawn J. McNeil, threw open a bedroom door and shot the officers as they walked down a narrow hall, authorities said. A third officer shot McNeil. The gunman, 47, died Monday, authorities said. Sad news out of Harlem, New York. The famous or infamous radio talk show host Alex Jones has said that he spoke to the January 6th committee and pled the fifth almost 100 times. Alex Jones, a controversial conspiracy theorist and radio host Alex Jones, said on his show today that he was deposed by the House committee investigating January 6th and that he exercised his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination almost 100 times. Jones said he testified remotely on Monday. It was extremely interesting, to say the least, he said. He also said lawyers who asked questions were polite, but they were dogged. Good old Alex Jones. And then finally in our headlines, President Biden and the Biden administration have withdrawn their temporary vaccine or test mandate for large employers. This is a big story, a breaking story, as a matter of fact. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration announced Tuesday that it is withdrawing the Biden administration's temporary COVID-19 vaccine or test requirement for large employers. OSHA said it made the decision to withdraw the mandate following the Supreme Court's decision blocking the rule. OSHA does not have the power to, quote, regulate public health more broadly, close quote, the court said. Requiring vaccination of 84 million Americans selected simply because they work for employers with more than 100 employees certainly falls in the latter category, the court also said. The administration's mandate, which was issued in November, said that companies with more than 100 workers must require their employees to either get vaccinated or tested every week. OSHA continues to strongly encourage the vaccination of workers against the continuing dangers posed by COVID-19 in the workplace. The withdrawal will become effective on January 26th. When we come back, we will get into the news of the day, talk to you, see what's going on with you and all our friends who are checking us out on The Drive. We appreciate everybody that is watching us today. You are watching The Drive with Mario Smith. We'll be back in a bit. This is Backchannel.tv. Back in a second. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Drive with Marth. I am he, and you are there. We appreciate you. Jake Bliss is joining us in Portland, Oregon. We have our friends who are joining us online as well to check out the show, Kobe and Santosh and Davey. Davey's in Texas, of course. Thank you all for joining us on The Drive. Please tell your friends when they go on YouTube, make sure that they hit that notification bell so that they know when we're coming on the air, not just us, but everybody that's on The Drive. And we appreciate you all being here. Let's get into these stories a little bit more in depth, and not limited to the SAT exam is now going to move from pencil to a digital format. The SAT administrators announced Tuesday say that the shift will boost its relevancy as more colleges make standardized tests optional for admission. Test takers will be allowed to use their own laptops or tablets, but they'll still have to sit for the test at a monitored testing site or in school, not at home. The format change is scheduled to roll out internationally next year and in the US in 2024. It will also shave an hour from the current version, bringing the reading, writing, and math assessment from 3 hours to about 2. The digital SAT will be easier to take, easier to give, and more relevant, said Priscilla Rodriguez, Vice President of College Readiness Assessments at New York City based College Board, which administers the SAT and related PSAT. We're not simply putting the current SAT on a digital platform. We're taking full advantage of what delivering an assessment digitally makes possible. One essential for college applications, scores from admission tests like the SAT and rival ACT carry less weight today as colleges and universities pay more attention to the sum of student achievements and activities throughout high school. You know, Gliss, man, when I was in school, I would have loved to have a college or a university say, hey, it's not really important if you take the SAT or the ACT. We just want you to come to school where we want you to come to school. We'll pay for some of this. How about it? You down? I would have been down, but test counted for me.
Yeah, no, I'd be. I think I'd be okay with that. I'm not much. I'm not a very strong standardized test taker, so.
No, I'm not a proponent of it either. I like the idea of. I mean, I understand why they're valuable, but I like the idea of a college or a university saying, you know what? We see all the stuff that you did while you were in high school. We see how you get along in the community, how you get along with your peers and whatnot. Would you like to come to Harvard, Mario?
Absolutely.
My answer would have been no. I want to stay in the Midwest because there's a laundromat in my parents' home. And they would have been like, well, so what? We got laundromats here in Boston. And I'd have been like, all right, fine. I think it says a lot more about the education system in the United States that we take into consideration the merits of students as opposed to just, and it's probably the teacher in me coming out. We pay attention to the merits of students and how they perform in that classroom setting and in that community that they're in, as opposed to sitting down for 2 hours and taking a test that you really don't want to take on a Saturday. You're not trying to do that. And the SAT, far more diabolical than the ACT. This is a good move. I like the fact that they will not give you an at-home option. Very smart, because the cheating, if it isn't already a thing, would really be a thing if they did that. And the fact that they're going to give this a couple of years to roll out, I think is also big. I can't speak for other parts of the U.S., but I think this is a good thing for kids in the Midwest, particularly because it's hard as hell up here, man, to do stuff in the winter, for example, getting the extracurricular classes and things of that nature, studying for this test and the ACT and the PSAT. Those things are, that's a lot. So now you don't make it so intimidating is what I'm saying, I suppose. I would have really preferred this though, man. You know how much damage I could have done?
You and me both.
I would have been a menace in college. You could come on your merit, forget that test? Lordy, Lord, yes, sir. What time should I show up? I would have been there. I might have even went to Alabama. No joke, because they have a really good program down there, radio and television program in Alabama. Truth be told, Syracuse was like first choice. Michigan State was another choice because of radio and television. I ended up taking another path. We'll just leave it at another path. It involves school. It's just, you don't want to know.
Maybe sometime off camera. I want to hear the story.
We'll talk maybe later. Maybe we won't, but you don't want to know. It was rough. Google faces a lawsuit over location tracking practices from various states in the United States. For example, Texas, Indiana, and the District of Columbia sued Alphabet Incorporated's Google on Monday over what they call deceptive location tracking practices that invade users' privacy. Google falsely led consumers to believe that changing their account and device settings would allow customers to protect their privacy and control what personal data the company could access, Washington, D.C. Attorney General Karl Racine's office said in a statement. The truth is that, contrary to Google's representations, it continues to systematically surveil customers and profit from customer data. Google's bold misrepresentations are a clear violation of consumers' privacy, close quote. Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson also said his office was filing a lawsuit against Google on Monday. Google spokesperson Jose Castaneda said, quote, the attorneys general are bringing a case based on inaccurate claims and outdated assertions about our settings. We have always built privacy features into our products and provided robust controls for location data. We will vigorously defend ourselves and set the record straight, close quote. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton alleged Google misled consumers by continuing to track their location even when users sought to prevent it. Google has a location history setting and informs users if they turn it off, the places you go are no longer stored, Texas said. Google continues to track users' location through other settings and methods that it fails to adequately disclose, Texas also said. Ferguson noted in 2020, Google made nearly $150 billion, good Lord, from advertising. Every time I hear money figures now, I'm just like, what have I done that I am not in the conversation for 150 billion anything? What have I not done? There's so many things I haven't done. Location data is key. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to veer off. Just makes me. I'm glad I'm holding on to the Resolute desk. This is makes me dizzy. Location data is key to Google's advertising business. Consequently, it has a financial incentive to dissuade users from withholding access to that data, Ferguson's office said in a statement Monday. So we're talking about Google. I'm an iPhone user. It's been a minute since I've been an iPhone user, but I am again. And I'm always wondering if, because they got a really brilliant privacy thing and they ask the apps not to track you, but I go on Google on my computer and on my phone. How safe is my info? And actually, if you really want to do something to make people feel safer with their info, why not just not sell my information to people? What do they need? Why? Why? All the things that you advertise for me that you think I want, I can either not afford them or I don't really want them. It's just, there's a way to do everything, I suppose. And I just don't think that way is the way. And I stand in bewilderment at Google and all these companies that kind of chase you down for your information. It's weird to me. I almost said it, Gliss. I almost said Amarion. It almost came out. Almost. Hope seen once the Omicron wave increases global immunity. Take a listen to this. This is important. And also, you can get an N95 mask at like Walgreens and CVS and stuff starting this week. So wherever you are in the U.S. checking us out, or around the world, I imagine there's a Walgreens somewhere on Earth outside of the United States. You can get an N95 mask for free this week. I don't think you have to show health anything. I think you get up to 3 of them. World health officials are offering hope that the ebbing of the Omicron wave could give way to a new, more manageable phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, even as they warn of difficult weeks ahead and the possibility of another, more dangerous variant arising. In the U.S., cases have crested and are dropping rapidly, following a pattern seen in Britain and South Africa, with researchers projecting a period of low spread in many countries by the end of March. Though U.S. deaths, now at 2,000 each day, are still rising, new hospital admissions have started to fall, and a drop in deaths is expected to follow. The encouraging trends after 2 years of coronavirus misery have brought a noticeably hopeful tone from health experts. Rosy predictions have crumbled before, but this time they are backed by what could be called Omicron silver lining. The highly contagious variant will leave behind extremely high levels of immunity. On Sunday, Dr. Anthony Fauci talked on ABC This Week about a best-case scenario where COVID-19 would fall to manageable levels so the United States could get back to a degree of normality. And on Monday, the World Health Organization issued a statement anticipating an end to the emergency phase of the pandemic this year and saying that the Omicron variant offers plausible hope for stabilization and normalization. Both Fauci and the WHO's Europe Regional Director, Dr. Hans Kluge, that's his name, cautioned that new variants are likely to emerge, but with vaccination, new drug therapies, and during surges, testing and masks, the world could reach a less disruptive level of disease in which the virus is, as Fauci put it, quote, essentially integrated into the general respiratory infections that we have learned to live with, close quote. So, in other words, it sounds like if we get past, I'm not a doctor, but it sounds like getting past February, um, by most accounts, is when it's going to peak. And then we'll be okay. Maybe our spring and our summer will be fine. And I read somewhere about these shots becoming once a year things, kind of like a flu shot. I am I don't know why super apprehensive about taking the flu shot. I would probably be willing to take the coronavirus once a year shot though. Um, I guess it would be more like I don't know if booster would be the right word for it, but I could see me doing that as opposed to, not doing that, because coronavirus, from all accounts, is rough, man. I don't want it.
I don't want it either.
I don't want it.
I mean, this was the goal. So, I mean, this is, it's good to hear that there might be a light at the end of the tunnel finally. If this is the case, and we have the ability to make it just like, other common sicknesses that come around on a yearly basis, and we have an effective vaccine, then we're in good shape, for the most part, as long as we, don't screw it up again. But
yeah, that would be, well, if we're good for anything in our beautiful country of ours, it's screwing it up and making us do, going into this whole my freedom is my freedom.
Yeah,
your freedoms are compromised when you're dead. As long as you're alive, you can continue to fight for your freedom. Your freedoms are all compromised once you're dead. Pfizer started a clinical trial for I want to say Omarion so badly.
You got it.
Oh, I know. It's just, I think of Omarion and his wonderful dance moves. Pfizer started clinical trials for the Omicron-specific COVID vaccine. Pfizer said Pfizer and BioNTech announced today that they have started a clinical trial testing a modified COVID-19 vaccine to protect against the super contagious Omicron variant of the coronavirus. The drug maker said they aim to enroll up to 1,420 healthy adults ages 18 to 55 in the trial, which will evaluate whether the Omicron-specific vaccine is safe and generates a strong immune response. The participants will be divided into 3 groups: fully vaccinated and boosted, and unvaccinated, which will determine whether they receive 1, 2, or 3 doses of the modified vaccine. The companies also said they expect to launch a similar study in the U.S., testing the shot in those older than 55. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released new research Friday that found that a booster shot of the current vaccines provides robust protection against severe illness from the rapidly spreading variant, which accounts for virtually all new cases in the U.S. The CDC and P, they leave the P off for some reason, is also prevention. Studies also suggest that existing boosters offered significant protection against both infection and symptomatic illness, although the protection was higher during the Delta surge compared to the Omicron surge. While the existing vaccines could protect people against some of the worst outcomes of COVID, drug makers have said that they would continue to develop variant-specific shots in case they are needed. Well, that's good news, I suppose. It's better than we have no plan at all. We don't know what we're going to do, and good luck to you. And Gliss, remember yesterday we talked about Sarah Palin jumping out of that court appearance?
Yep.
And we both went, sure you had COVID. Well,
right.
She was at a New York restaurant 2 days before testing positive for COVID, just chowing down. 2 days before Sarah Palin tested for COVID-19, she dined at a New York City restaurant that's a magnet for celebrities, the manager confirmed Monday. Patrons are required to present proof of vaccination before they are allowed to eat inside New York City restaurants, according to city COVID regulations. But apparently, nobody checked Palin, the former governor of Alaska, who was the 2008 Republican vice presidential nominee, for proof of vaccination Saturday night at Elio's, a popular Italian restaurant on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Manager Luca Giolittini said, quote, "We are taking this isolated incident and unfortunate oversight very seriously," Giolittini said in a statement on Monday. Elios adheres to and believes in the vaccine mandate and all it is doing to protect our staff, regulars, and the dining public. He also said that he wasn't working on Saturday night and that the restaurant is reaching out to other patrons who were dining at Elios while Palin was there with, quote, a regular, close quote, whom he declined to identify. My focus right now is on the safety of my staff who worked the floor that night and on our guests. She is, of course, unvaccinated, and her trial was supposed to take place yesterday, but she got COVID, so she got sick, so she couldn't go get the trial going. Look, let me tell you guys something. The fact that nobody in that restaurant checked her, whoever was working that night, whoever the maitre d' is, fired. Whoever the manager on the floor was that night, I want to talk to you. And how does everybody know this woman? You got to know Sarah Palin when you see her. You're in New York. You know the news. You didn't know she wasn't vaccinated? I would have had to ask her to leave. I might have lost my job, but I would have said, you have to go. You can't stay here. You can't eat here. No, get out. Scram, lady.
I don't understand how they let that one slip by.
Oh, you understand.
Hey, Gonzaga stepped up. They got John Stockton out of there for not following the rules. So why not? Come on now.
Yeah, I suppose, but yeah,
got to follow the rules. Get her out of there.
Yeah, she got to go. You got to go. I think I told you yesterday at my job, we've been telling people you can't come in here unless you can prove you've been vaccinated. It's not me wanting you to not come in. It's me not wanting you to come in if you might get someone sick or you might get sick yourself.
Right.
Yeah, don't be stupid. So let's ask our fine listeners and watchers like Brandon, who's joined the stream, and Hader, who's also on the stream along with Kobe and everyone else. If you were working at a restaurant, I almost recited a Tribe Called Quest lyric. If I was working at the club, you would not pay. Hey, yo, my man Fife Diggy, he got something to say. If you were working at a restaurant, you saw a famous person who you knew was not vaccinated and it was required to ask for that vaccine card. Yes or no? Would you ask for that card? And yes or no, would you put them out if they didn't have it? Yes, I'd ask for it. Yes, I would put them out. Or no, I wouldn't ask for it. No, I wouldn't put them out. You can do this on YouTube or on your Amazon supported device in the chat. What would you do? And by the way, speaking of the chat, man, are you looking at the chat that our chat was on our restream? I'm not trying to get too far behind the curtain on folks because I know they can't see it. Is this person from Russia?
That's what it seems like. Because I don't. Are you talking about on the YouTube chat?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would show that on the screen, but I don't know what it means. So
I don't either.
I'm a little nervous about trying to.
As you can see, I can't see.
Because I do have the option to put that on the screen, but I don't know. I don't read Russian, so it makes me a little nervous to put it up there.
Well, I mean, look. We could put it up.
Let's see.
I don't know, man. I like this gig. This has been fun.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody has been so nice.
Maybe I can look it up. I'll have to look it up.
I mean, everyone is so pleasant here. Why would I want to ruin this for the sake of a bit, trying to be funny? But it looks like so, and I've seen them here the past couple of days, and I cannot pronounce your name. And I please forgive me, but thank you for watching. If you're watching in Russia, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's dope. You're on YouTube. I can see that. Wouldn't that be wild if we were in like Russia, man? Oh, wow.
That would be
wild. Imagine the possibilities. There's so many possibilities. Kobe says yes to both. Okay. Because it would be hard for me, man. I mean, Gliss, come on, dude. I've worked in the restaurant industry. If that mandate, or if the mandate that we're currently under now here in Chicago was a thing when I was working in a restaurant, I wouldn't care who it was. Where's your Vax card? Do you happen to have your Vax card? Is it on your phone? I need to see that in your ID, please. You don't have it. I'm sorry, you can't dine in here. But I don't care who you are. I don't care. You can't. Or you can, but we're gonna sit you somewhere way away from everybody, like outside, way outside, like at your car. We'll bring you your food. But you can't eat in here. That's playing with it, and I don't think you should play around with this at all. Hey man, are you big proponent of sharks? You watch Shark Week and all that stuff?
I like Shark Week. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sharks bother me.
Well, I don't necessarily want to be around them, but they're very interesting. They're a little creepy. Yeah.
I see you out there with a fishing pole, like, man, F these sharks. Come on, sharks, let's go. Shark attacks increased around the world in 2021 following 3 years of consecutive decline, though beach closures in 2020 caused by the COVID-19 pandemic could be making the numbers seem more dramatic than they are, researchers have found. Researchers with come on, this can't be a real all these organizations sound like they belong in Marvel movies. The International Shark Attack File, I give up, recorded 73 unprovoked incidents last year compared to 52 bites in 2020, according to a new report. The research is administered by the Florida Museum of Natural History and the American Elamso Branch Society. Elamso Branch? International Shark Attack File manager Tyler Bowling, that's not his real name, pointed out that 52 bites in 2020 were the lowest documented in more than a decade. The 73 bites in 2021 more closely aligned with the 5-year global average of 72. Shark bites dropped drastically in 2020 due to the pandemic, Bowling said in a statement. This past year was much more typical, with average bite numbers from an assortment of species and fatalities from white sharks, bull sharks, and tiger sharks. Researchers saw a total of 11 shark-related fatalities last year, with 9 considered unprovoked. Australia led the world with 3 unprovoked deaths, followed by New Caledonia with 2. The United States, Brazil, New Zealand, and South Africa each had a single unprovoked shark attack. Unprovoked attacks occur when there is no human provocation. Provoked attacks are defined as when humans initiate contact, such as divers trying to touch a shark or fishermen removing a shark from a fishing net, according to the International Shark Attack File. Why are people touching sharks? Who does that?
Some people like to get in those cages where you go swimming and they or you get in the cage and they swim around you.
Yeah,
like your bait.
Why?
I guess they want to see them up close, and I kind of get it. They are interesting, but I don't know if I could do that. The ocean's scary, man.
I will admit I have never been to either coastline. Not true. I haven't been like in the upper part of the eastern part of the United States. I've spent some time in Florida, so I have seen the ocean before. The ocean it is an intimidating thing when you look at it with your eyes, man, and not watching it on TV or seeing it in a picture. It's like, ooh,
it's a whole nother world, and it makes up a lot of our world.
Man, look, a fair amount. Most of it is the world. We're just landlubbers invading its space. But yeah, man, I'm not doing it. Sorry, sharks, you win. You ain't got to worry about me soiling up your doorstep. Hey, I'm staying way away. I've watched enough Shark Week and Jaws and all that crap. I'm good. Illinois on land, up in the air. That's cool. I'm good, man. I'm good. And speaking of water, these two goofies, the Island Boys, are you familiar with them?
Unfortunately.
They went viral for their widely ridiculed freestyle, "I'm an Island Boy." Someone actually called that a freestyle? That was doing the worst.
That's unfortunate. They must have been born after the year 2000 or something, because
man, like born in a lab.
Yeah, because that's not what I think of when I think of freestyling. That's for sure.
No, I mean, I have a billion examples of an actual freestyle. Hell, I might bust out a freestyle better than the Island Boys. Anyway, they appeared in a recent cameo video encouraging viewers to join the Army. The Army banned TikTok on government phones in 2019, citing security concerns, and recruiters aren't supposed to use the app for recruitment purposes on their personal devices either. That hasn't stopped recruiters from promoting enlistment on TikTok. The Island Boys video is the latest instance of Army recruiters using online platforms to reach younger people in a national labor shortage. Brothers Frankie and Alex Venegas, known together as the Island Boys, appeared last week in a video posted to TikTok by Orlando Temez, a Texas-based Army recruiter. Temez used Cameo, a shout-out app that allows fans to pay stars for personalized videos. Quote, big shout out to Staff Sergeant Temez. You're changing lives, giving out $50,000. Alex Venegas says in a Cameo video that was shared by Temez. Quote, giving out bonuses, paid vacation, Frankie Venegas adds, and free college, no money, they both say. This is two goofballs. It's unclear how much Temez paid for the video or whether it was paid for with Army funds. Representative for U.S. Army Recruiting Command sent an email Monday evening that the video wasn't sanctioned by the Army. Kelly Bland, the Army Recruitment Command's Director of Public Affairs, told NBC News Tuesday that Island Boys were not vetted for any recruitment outreach. Quote, the Island Boys Cameo was not reviewed, authorized, nor paid for by U.S. Army Recruiting Command as an official marketing tool, close quote, Bland said. Quote, we are investigating the situation and requiring the individual recruiter to remove the TikTok account as it is not authorized for official use at this time. Bland added that the U.S. Army Recruiting Command does have a robust influencer outreach program, but it's geared toward educators, fitness influencers, civic leaders, and other community partners instead of general social media influencers. The U.S. Army Recruiting Command invites them to activities like tandem skydiving with the U.S. Army's parachute demonstration team, experiences with the Army Marksmanship Unit, educational tours, various bases, and meetings with Army leaders. Funding Cameo shoutouts is not part of the outreach program, but it should be if that's what you're trying to do. If in this economy, right, if people aren't going to work and people are looking for jobs, and I certainly am not advocating that you join the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or any of that, but TikTok would be the move because I watch TikTok like it's TV.
Yeah,
I haven't posted a video to TikTok and probably won't, but I definitely watch it all the time. Seems like that would be a good way. And then, even though they're the Island Boys, and trust me, I could throw a rock in the air and hit hip hop in the head with it before I would reach the Island Boys. They must get a lot of money on Cameo. And then there's that. How much money are they getting on Cameo to do this? Island Boys.
People, I mean, they became a sensation somehow. I don't understand it. It's one of those weird things that, you know, someone just all of a sudden has their moment, and I don't understand it. The whole thing is I don't pay attention to it.
You sound so disgusted with the Island Boys.
I am. I mean, they look like clowns. Come on.
You sound really like ready to fight the Island Boys. You're like me. If I saw them, I might punch them. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's just like, come on now. Like, what are we doing here?
Watch the Island Boys get a television.
Be true to yourself. Come on, let's what is going on with those guys?
You better watch out. The Island Boys will be on Amazon Prime Video soon. Don't hey man.
Only in America. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. Remember yesterday when I was talking to you guys about the woman that found her lottery ticket in the spam folder, found out that she won the money? I have the story. A Michigan woman nearly missed out on her $3 million prize because her notification email landed in her spam folder. Laura Spears, 55. Shout out to the 55-year-olds. Bought a Mega Millions lottery ticket online, correctly picking the 5 white balls drawn on New Year's Eve, 0205304661. With those picks, she won the game's $1 million second place prize that a separate drawing multiplied to $3 million. Quote, I saw an ad on Facebook that the Mega Millions jackpot was getting pretty high, so I got on my account and bought a ticket, Spears told Michigan Lottery Connect. A few days later, I was looking for a missing email from someone, so I checked the spam folder in my email. That's when I saw an email from the lottery saying I had won a prize. I couldn't believe what I was reading, so I logged into my lottery account to confirm the message in the email. It's all still so shocking to me that I really won $3 million. Check your spam email, Gliss.
It's like, what a great story, but at the same time, I'm just sitting here all bitter because I've never won that much money. I've won. I think I won like $370 once playing the lottery
never
on
been
like
that
a
lucky.
$5 ticket or something. So
I
that
think
was
the
cool, but it was like I felt like that was my one opportunity where I was like almost mad about it. I won $300, but I'm like, oh, I'm never winning again. Like
The most I've ever
that was
won
it
is
right
like
there.
$50. I won $50, and I was so happy I haven't played since. But that's not true because I played that same lottery on New Year's Eve, and was like, oh, I'll win something. It's New Year's Eve. Nothing.
When it gets that high, I mean, when it's up, when Powerball or Mega Millions is up, a couple hundred million, it's like you might as well just go buy a $2 ticket, because what's the harm? You never know. But
yeah, it didn't work. I came to work, so I didn't win. Again, like I told you, if it happens, bro, I got you. You got 4 kids and a wife. I got all you guys. I'll give you all something. Not like $10 either. I'll give you something substantial for all your hard work and help. When we come back with the drive, we will check out what's going on in celebrity news. No, I'm sorry, our community report. Come on, Mario, stop trying to reprogram the show. We'll have the community report, and there's some interesting stuff in here, including 10 Downing Street drunk parties. Boris Johnson is a wild man. We got all that and more on the drive with Mario Smith right here on Backchannel.tv. That's right. It's time for the community report, stories that affect your communities. Hi, I'm Mario Smith, community report reporter. The music stopped and everything. Welcome back to the drive, guys. My man Jay Bliss is in Portland, Oregon. And it's time for the community report. We both tell you stuff that you need to know. Hey, if you're going to London, I'm telling you the spot to go to is 10 Downing Street. Yeah, I know that that's not a public residence, but apparently they are getting down like they are at a club. London police are investigating Downing Street lockdown parties. 10 Downing Street, if you don't know, is where the Prime Minister lives. And former mayor of London, now Prime Minister with weird hairdo, Boris Johnson's administration deepened Tuesday as police, this investigation deepened Tuesday as police are looking into gatherings at government offices that allegedly violated COVID-19 lockdown rules. London's Metropolitan Police Service has launched an inquiry into a number of events at Johnson's Downing Street office and other government buildings because they met the force's criteria for investigating the most serious and flagrant breaches of coronavirus rules. Commissioner Cressida Dick told the committee of the London Assembly, I'm such a child, the capital's local government council. Johnson is facing calls to resign amid revelations that he or his staff attended a series of social events during periods of lockdown when most social gatherings were banned in England, forcing average citizens to miss weddings, funerals, and birthdays as friends and relatives died alone in hospitals. The gatherings are already being investigated by a senior civil servant whose report has been anxiously awaited by lawmakers and the public. Quote, as a result, firstly, of the information provided by the Cabinet Office inquiry team, and secondly, my office's own assessment, I can confirm that the Met is now investigating a number of events that took place at Downing Street and Whitehall in the last 2 years in relation to potential breaches of COVID-19 regulations Dick told the committee. Police have already assessed several other events and determined that they do not meet the threshold for further investigation, the commissioner said. She declined to provide specifics about the gatherings. The announcement throws into doubt the timetable for when Sue Gray, the civil servant leading the cabinet office inquiry, will release her report. Gray has been expected to finish this week, but rules governing the investigation allow the inquiry to be paused if she turns over evidence of potential criminal offenses to the police. The Prime Minister's spokesman, Max Blaine, said the investigations team and the police were talking. Quote, that still needs to be worked through, both in relation to what may or may not be published and the ongoing work of both the police and the Gray investigation, he said. Even before the police investigation was announced, Johnson was fighting off new allegations of rule breaking aimed directly at him. ITV News reported late Monday that Johnson's then fiancee, everybody, I can't. He gets a fiance. The Johnson's then fiancee threw a birthday party for him, complete with cake, inside his Downing Street offices on June 19, 2020, followed by another gathering for family and friends in his official residence. The Prime Minister's office confirmed that the events took place, but denied that they violated lockdown regulations. The first was a brief gathering with colleagues who Johnson was already in close contact with, and the second involved a small number of family members who met outside in a garden, in line with coronavirus rules. Such careful parsing of the rules fueled a debate in the House of Commons, where opposition lawmakers once again called on the Prime Minister to resign. They are all up in my man Boris's business. Gliss, they have been trying to get this dude to resign now for about 3 weeks, like in the sessions of Parliament, like laying it down on him, where he's apologized every day. Every day he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. Sorry. Like, dude, how much apologizing are you gonna do? You really stepped in it, Boris. That's Trump's buddy.
Yep. Yeah, it's they seem very similar in their style of
don't they know?
leadership.
They seem to have, well, hey man, you knew you couldn't do it and you went and did it. So now you gotta suck it up. All right, what is more upsetting to you? A woman being arrested for trying to kidnap a child, or a woman being arrested for trying to buy a child?
Ooh.
That is a tough one, isn't it?
That is a tough one.
Well, we're not
both sound like bad people.
They are bad. Both of them are horrible human beings. But if there were two, it's only one, though. A Texas woman was arrested after allegedly trying to buy another woman's child for $500,000 at, of all places, Walmart. Oh, Texas, you strike again. A Texas woman has been arrested last week after allegedly attempting to buy a woman's child at a Walmart store, police say. Rebecca Lynette Taylor, 49, was arrested Tuesday. Sorry, Davey, about talking about Texas like this, my man. I know you're new now to the show. I apologize. Was arrested Tuesday and charged with sale or purchase of a child, a third-degree felony. How is that a third-degree felony? Shouldn't that be like isn't first degree more punishable than a third degree? Oh.
It sure seems that would be more appropriate in this situation when you're trying to move children around.
I gotta tell you something, Gliss. You don't know this. After the show each night, I have to just sink my face into cold water just to kind of shake off the stuff that I've been reading. And tonight will be no exception. I will have to give myself the ice bucket challenge on this one now, because wow, third-degree felony for trying to buy a child. Taylor allegedly approached a woman who had her baby in a car seat and one-year-old son in a shopping cart at the self-checkout of a Walmart in Crockett, about 120 miles north of Houston, on January 13th. Taylor allegedly commented on the woman's son's blonde hair and blue eyes and asked, quote, how much could she purchase him for, close quote, according to the probable cause affidavit obtained by the fine folks at NBC News. The mom, quote, tried to laugh this comment off, thinking Taylor was joking. Taylor told her that she had $250,000 in the car and she would pay that much for him. The mom told her no amount of money would do, close quote, the affidavit said. The mother told Taylor to stay away from her son. Quote, Taylor said that he was the perfect fit and she had been wanting to buy a baby for a long time now, close quote, the affidavit said. The mother told police that Taylor was with another woman who asked what the child's name was, but the mother did not disclose the name. Somehow, the affidavit says Taylor and the other woman knew the child's name and they began calling him by his name. The mother waited for the two women to leave the store before heading towards her car. In the parking lot, ooh, gliss. In the parking lot, Taylor allegedly began to scream at the mother, quote, saying if she would not take $250,000 for him, then she would give $500,000 because she wanted him and she was going to take him, close quote, the affidavit said. Once in the car, oh, it gets better. Taylor stood behind a black SUV next to the mother's vehicle. Taylor kept saying she wanted the child and would pay $500,000 in cash for him, the affidavit said. Eventually, she got into the black SUV and left. Police said surveillance footage from the store matched the mother's account. The officer who wrote the affidavit went to Taylor's residence to question her about the incident. Quote, she told me that she doesn't like thieves. Then she stated I could speak with her attorney and to get off her precipice. She slammed the door shut, the affidavit said. According to jail records as of Thursday, she had bonded out of Houston County Jail. Efforts by NBC News to reach Taylor for comment were not immediately successful, and it was not clear if she had retained an attorney. If convicted, she faces a minimum of 2 years in jail and a maximum of 10 years under Texas Penal Code and could face a fine of up to $10,000. Let me ask you something. Be real with me, everybody. If someone approached you and said, hey, like for example, Marquise in Washington, welcome. I have a story about Washington State. Don't leave. If someone approached you and said, hey, look, I want to buy your child. I got $250,000 in my car. And I got another $250,000 if you say no initially. Wouldn't you want to call the police right away? You're not going to let her drive off. That sounds like someone's trying to kidnap your child.
Yeah. And potentially it could do harm to some other child. So yeah, I mean, it seems like that's a situation that should be taken care of very quickly. And you know, I hope this woman has some sort of mental health evaluation because clearly something is off.
Also, you know, depending on how my children are acting that day, though, at $250,000, I might say, you know what? I gotta think about that for a minute. You give me 10 minutes to think on that. My kids would, if I had kids, they'd be like, that's not enough money. You only want $250,000. It wouldn't matter if he was a year old too. Like $250, that's not enough money for me. But she had an accomplice with her, and the most is a third degree. That is what in the hell? Third degree.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Man, stay in Illinois. I swear to God. There's only 2 states I'm going to now, Illinois and Indiana, right next to each other. I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. Man, that is wild. Marquise just hopped on with us, and we have a story out of Washington State that maybe he can jump in and collaborate with us on. There's an emergency order to, as I have a computer issue, Bliss, my bad. An emergency order to address green crab infestation in, hold on, doing some quick production work here at the Mario Smith Studios because I am nothing if not super efficient and down to get the news right for you and yours. Okay, here we are. An emergency order to tackle green crab infestation in Washington. I'd never seen a green crab before. It doesn't look delicious. It looks very troubling. The Washington State is taking action to tackle the infestation of European green crabs after an exponential increase in the invasive species. Governor Jay Inslee issued an emergency order on last Wednesday, that will allow the state's Department of Fish and Wildlife to eradicate the crustacean or prevent it from permanently establishing itself. The increase in the number of European green crabs have been seen within the Lumini Nation's sea pond and outer coast areas. The state said in a statement that if the crab becomes permanently established, quote, it will particularly harm endangered species, impact resources that are part of the cultural identity of the tribes and native peoples, and affect small businesses, close quote. Thought it's native to the thought is it's native to the northeastern Atlantic Ocean. The European green crab is considered a globally damaging invasive species that is able to survive in a wide range of water temperatures and has become established in many temperate coastal zones around the world, according to the emergency proclamation. In these places, European green crabs have disturbed habitats, displaced and outcompeted native species, and altered natural food webs, devastating shellfish and other aquatic industries. If the crab became established in the coastal waters of Washington state, it would prey on shellfish and juvenile Dungeness crabs and destroy critical habitats such as eelgrass beds and estuarine marshes. I got it, the proclamation said. It would also harm overall crab populations and hinder salmon and killer whale conservation efforts. So please, Washington state, great idea. Stop the green crab madness. I don't want to catch a green crab. I'm not a big crab eater, but crabs are delicious. But I don't want that smoke. You know what I'm saying? Let's not do that. Yeah, no. And other nature news, by the way, the California redwood forest has been returned to a native tribal group. This is actually great news. The descendants of Native American tribes on the Northern California coast are reclaiming a bit of their heritage that includes ancient redwoods that have stood since their ancestors walked the land. Save the Redwoods League planned to announce Tuesday that it is transferring more than 500 acres on the Lost Coast to the intertribal Sinkyone Wilderness Council. The group of 10 tribes that have inhabited the area for thousands of years will be responsible for protecting the land in the Sinkyone language, or it's called Fish Run Place. I cannot pronounce it in the proper language. I'm not about to attempt to do it. I do not want to get yelled at by someone who might be native. So Mario's smart enough to not do that. Priscilla Hunter, chairwoman of the Coyote Valley Band of Pomo Indians, said it's a real blessing. It's like a healing for our ancestors. I know our ancestors are happy this was given to us to protect. The transfer marks a step in the growing land back movement to return indigenous homelands to the ancestors of those who lived there for millennia before European settlers arrived. The league first worked with the Sinkyone Council when it transferred a 164-acre plot nearby to the group in 2012. The league recently paid $37 million for a scenic 5-mile stretch of the rugged and forbidding Lost Coast from a lumber company to protect it from logging and eventually open it up to the public. That's good news. We're on our way. Return the indigenous people their land, which would be all of it. And I don't know how that's going to go over with people, but it is what it is. So, okay, somebody tried to buy a baby. We've got $500,000. Been a busy day in America. We come back with some celebrity news in a bit. You're watching The Drive with Mario Smith on Backchannel.tv. Don't go anywhere. Tell your people. Whoa, he knocked it all down. Tell your people the top of the hour is next. You're watching Backchannel.tv. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. It is the top of the hour, straight up and down, wherever you are. Thank you so much for checking us out on Backchannel.tv. Don't forget, our Backchannel lineup is full of great folks beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Put it on YouTube, put it on your Amazon supportive devices, and check us out. And thanks for spending your day with us and spending the end of the broadcast day with us. We really appreciate it. The sun is starting to make its move to the west here in Chicago. Let's take a look at what's happening at the top of the hour. Some quick headlines. Alex Jones says he spoke with the January 6th committee involving the takeover of the Capitol building. That's significant. Another police officer in New York City in the big shooting that happened in Harlem has made his transition. Wilbert Mora passed away today. And also, the Biden administration has withdrawn its employer vaccine mandate after a Supreme Court ruling saying that it was illegal to have the vaccine mandate. So that we can get into this celebrity news a little bit and take our time with it. Let's start right now. Have no fear. The camera's here. There's a lot going on today in the sports world. Part of the reason I think I need to push this up a little bit because there's so much happening. And I'm not just saying it because something happened in Chicago finally, but there's a lot happening, and I want to make sure we have time for it. But I do want to make sure we talk about a couple of these in a lot of detail. One of them is Bob Dylan has sold his entire catalog to Sony Music. And I'm going to ask you guys the question now because I'm not sure that I get why this is happening. And hello to Amy, by the way. This is her first time checking out the show. Amy is in Minnesota. I know it's cold there because it's freezing here. Matter of fact, Amy, I'm not trying to play Can You Top This, but it's 12 degrees right now, and the real feel is -2 degrees. It is cold. It is cold. It's so cool. But the question is, why are these artists selling their catalogs? I mean, I get it. You get to get the money before part of your big retirement package, and you may not make music anymore. But Bob Dylan intends on still making music. Well, let's find out. Bob Dylan has sold his entire back catalog of recorded music to Sony Music Entertainment in a landmark deal that starts with his 1962 self-titled album and continues with 2020's Rough and Rowdy Ways and includes rights to multiple future releases, according to the record company. While Sony did not disclose how much it paid, sources told Variety that the sale price is estimated to be worth $150 to $200 million. The deal, which concluded in July and was announced Monday, is a major expansion in Sony's 6-decade relationship with Dylan, who was signed to the company's Columbia Records label in October of 1961. Columbia Records has had a special relationship with Bob Dylan from the beginning of his career, and we are tremendously proud and excited to be continuing to grow and evolve our ongoing 60-year partnership, Sony Music Group Chairman Bob Stringer said in a statement. We're thrilled that he will now be a permanent member of the Sony Music family, close quote, he added. We are excited to work with Bob and his team to find new ways to make his music available to as many fans today and to future generations. The 80-year-old artist, known for blending folk music with rock and roll poetry, that's right, rock and roll, and poetry, said of the agreement, Columbia Records and Rob Stringer have been nothing but good to me for many, many years and a whole lot of records. I'm glad that all my recordings can stay where they belong. I'm sure he didn't sound like that. It probably sounded more like, hey, I'm really happy that they got my record. Bob Stringer's a great man and really has sound here. The announcement comes more than a year after Dylan sold his entire catalog of songs to Universal Music Group, which involves the rights to his lyrics and compositions. A source familiar with that deal told NBC News that the sale price was, quote, a sizable 9-figure amount north of $200 million. Under the Sony agreement, Dylan and the company will collaborate on future catalog reissues and partner for additional projects. But Gliss, I get it, he's 80 years old, and he would probably never see that money as long as he was living. And then his estate would get all that money when he died. But wouldn't you want, or do you want your your estate to have that kind of money after you're gone?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to what the thought process is behind it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't sound too bad to cash in, and
No.
but at the same time, you're Bob Dylan. Like, how much money do you really need? That's kind of why I am curious as to what's the motivation behind it would be.
Well, it's kind of like, how much money have you actually made? Have you made enough money where you're like, or if you're Bob, you know what I'm about to do? I'm going to sell my catalog. All the money's gone. I'm selling it.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's out there, just spending tons of money. But maybe he does. Maybe.
Oh man, no, I doubt it. I bet Amy runs into Bob Dylan every week, like buying coffee or donuts or something. Probably walks around with signs, doesn't talk to people, just flip signs over. Get it? Never mind.
Yeah, he comes off as a more frugal celebrity in my mind, but what do I know?
I had to come outside to shovel my snow. I'm 80 years old. I love Dylan, though. He is a poet's poet, man. That dude. I mean, for real. I think this is because I think artists like Stevie Wonder, who has an extensive catalog as well, for like the early 60s. How much money could that man's catalog be worth? If Bob Dylan is getting $200 million for his back catalog, not the lyric stuff, just the back catalog, imagine, or like, and see, they still haven't determined just how much, I guess they have determined how much Michael Jackson's music catalog is worth, but there's stuff that's been recorded that was never released. There's a whole album of Jackson 5 stuff that is allegedly sitting in a vault that Stevie Wonder made for them, and it's never been released. I'd like to hear that.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying?
And in fact, I would hope that a lot of great artists have caught on to that and have plans to, when they're gone. It'd be nice to hear some of that stuff that maybe didn't make the cut on certain albums, or stuff that they worked on, they just never released to the public. I think that would be pretty cool to hear.
It'd be cool to hear while they're alive. Let us enjoy it, and let's all talk about it together. And then, I can't do it for Michael, but come on the drive and tell me about your songs. I mean, I got friends that write songs. I have friends that are like, they get down, and I gotta ask them, would you consider selling not to me, but would you consider selling your music catalog? And what's the motivation behind doing that? I don't understand it. I'm trying hard to understand it, but I don't. Chris has joined the stream, and Chris is like, no. And I don't know if this is no to an earlier question or no to the catalog question, but I appreciate Chris being here. I would like to know where Chris is from. Chris, please tell me where you're from, and we'll shout you out and shout out your town, burg, village, neighborhood, whatever. I don't care. You can even tell me the city. I don't care. Okay. And Neil Young is on it too, though, but he's not trying to sell anything. He's trying to stop everything. Neil Young told Spotify to remove all of his music over Joe Rogan's vaccine misinformation. Quote, they can have Rogan or Young, not both, the Canadian-American singer, 76 years old, said in an open letter that was later removed from his website. Neil Young has reportedly demanded that his music be removed from Spotify over vaccine misinformation shared on Joe Rogan's popular podcast through the streaming service. Quote, they can have Rogan or Young, not both. Close quote. Neil Young
ultimatum.
Said, man, these dudes past 70 are like, all right, you want to fight? I might only have one punch left, but I'll swing it at you. Rogan, known for his contrarian and often baseless views on medicine, has faced widespread backlash for questioning vaccine safety during the pandemic. NBC News has not seen the original post, and it is unclear why it was removed from Young's website. The link to the original post labeled, quote, a message to Spotify, close quote, currently leads to a blank page. Let's see if that's true. Is it still a blank page? Yes, sir. The page it's very blank. That's wild. A rep for Young did not immediately respond to an overnight request for comment. In the letter, the Canadian-American singer said he wanted his manager and record label, quote, to let Spotify know immediately, in all caps, today, that I want all of my music off their platform, close quote. He said he was, quote, doing this because Spotify is spreading fake information about vaccines, potentially causing death to those who believe the disinformation being spread by them, close quote, Rolling Stone reported. Young made clear that he was specifically referring to the Joe Rogan Experience, which is Spotify's most popular podcast at the moment. Hold on to your seat, Bliss. Don't get sick. Rogan signed a $100 million deal last year, giving the streaming service exclusive rights to the show. Oh, my God. Why am I doing this? $100 million? What? He has 11 million listeners per episode?
It's quite a platform.
That's the understatement of 2021, 2 and 3. Oh my goodness gracious. 720 doctors last month, researchers and other healthcare professionals signed an open letter demanding that Spotify introduce a policy on misinformation, specifically citing Rogan's, quote, concerning history of broadcasting misinformation, particularly regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, close quote. Here's a question for everybody. Boy, I got plenty of questions for you today. Do you listen to Joe Rogan? And if you do, when you hear that vaccine talk, do you turn? 11 million people listen to him. He just signed $100 million, man. We could buy that bar we weren't talking about buying on that island we hadn't mentioned before. $100 million. I wish we could do the flashback thing with the harps. $100 million, like I was thinking about. That's a lot of money. I wonder if Neil Young's music has been taken off of Spotify yet. I still have Spotify. Let's take a look. I looked earlier. It was still there, and it's still there. Neil Young has 6,057,481 monthly listeners on Spotify. All of his stuff's still there. Everything. Even Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and all his affiliates. That's a lot of people to listen to one guy do something, isn't it?
Sounds like Joe Rogan maybe has the upper hand as far as the listenership goes, though.
I would say so. Man.
I mean, he's not as iconic as Neil Young, but
11 million listeners. Well, how much money did I say it was? $250 million, $1 billion. How much is Joe Rogan getting from Spotify? He just had a new deal for what? $100 million. When Howard Stern was trying to flip it, they were offering him an upwards of $300 million.
We got to talk to our agents.
Man, I got to get an agent. I need some help. We're doing something. What am I doing wrong? Again, I feel like I am missing something here, and I just want to not miss anything. I want to sell my catalog. I want to sell my catalog so bad. Oh my goodness gracious, that's a lot of money. We have to have a big meeting and and present our plan to garner everybody on Backchannel. 11 million people. I don't even know how to begin to even formulate how that works, man. That says a lot. I have never listened to Joe Rogan.
I haven't either. I've heard parts of things he's said that have been, highly publicized, like little clips and stuff, but I've never actually listened to the show myself.
I've never taken the time, nor do I have the desire.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the more I've learned about him, the less inclined I feel like I'm gonna.
Also, he's friends with that dog-faced moron Aaron Rodgers. I don't care about him. I don't care about that other punk Grayson Allen. This isn't sports, but I don't like either of them guys, and I don't care. So what, Joe Rogan? You blew it, buddy, when you made friends with that sad-eyed freak. I really don't like Aaron Rodgers. Can you tell?
There's some Aaron Rodgers news out there today, actually.
Oh yeah, I think we will have to. Yeah, didn't he? Yeah.
Not anything, groundbreaking. But
is he retiring?
No, not yet.
So he could sit next to Joe Rogan and they could both have COVID together, look at each other's eyes, mesmerize him with those super long puppy dog eyeballs he's got. No, I can't stand him. I'm so glad you got. Thank you again to the San Francisco 49ers for looking out. That saved me a lot of grief. He's such a chump. And then he quoted Dr. King too. I'm still mad about that. Yes, Gary, you said it, man. I want to sell all the catalogs. Sears, Montgomery Ward's, JCPenney's. Yes. If it's a catalog, I'll sell it because I'm trying to get paid. Peter Dinklage says that he thinks the Game of Thrones prequel will be really good. Peter Dinklage strikes me as a dude that if he could, he'd just go around and just really tell people how he feels about them with no consequence. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing for a man to not care like that. It's amazing. Peter Dinklage is in the prequel to HBO's smash hit Game of Thrones, but the actor who played Tyrion Lannister is confident it will be a hit. Quote, I think it's going to be a really good show, Dinklage said of House of the Dragon in a recent episode of the WTF with Mark Maron, my man, podcast. I like Mark Maron. And I've never listened to that podcast either, but I like him. He's funny. The prequel will take place 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones and will be about House Targaryen. Game of Thrones people, don't yell at me. I also never watched this show because House Targaryen. According to HBO, Martin and Ryan Condal serve as co-creators of the series. Dinklage, who stars in the upcoming film Cyrano, yes, sir, said the director and producer of House of the Dragon also worked on Game of Thrones. HBO took a huge risk on our show, he said of Game of Thrones. It was a slow start, but why don't they do that again? This isn't a risk. It's a proven thing that works. Dinklage also addressed the poorly received final season of Game of Thrones, which he said was divisive because fans were, quote, not wanting to say goodbye, close quote. House of the Dragon is expected to premiere this year, but an official date has not yet been announced. Yeah, so let's move on. Right now, 12 of the 15 most streamed shows in the U.S. on Netflix are, from 15, The Witcher, 14, WandaVision. WandaVision. 13, Maid, that's on Netflix. Number 12 is Ted Lasso. Outer Banks, The Handmaid's Tale. Longmire, The Crown is number 8. Cobra Kai is number 7. You is number 6. Not you, Gliss, but you.
I like
that. Is it, you like it?
Yeah, it's a thriller. If you don't like scary stuff, you might not like it, but
I don't.
Although it's more suspenseful, I guess. It's not really scary, but
I'm big on espionage and suspense stuff. I don't want to be scared though. That's why I won't see any of the Scream movies. No way. Bridgerton is number 5. Virgin River is number 4. The Great British Baking Show is number 3. Number 2 is Squid Game, and the number 1 most streamed show in the U.S. is Lucifer. Wasn't that a Fox show?
I don't know what that is actually. I've heard of it, but
well, he's supposed
maybe
to be
maybe it's switched over to Netflix because I know that has happened with some shows where they get picked up by, they make a deal with the streaming service or something like that.
Well, he's allegedly the son of the devil, Satan, and he's a police officer, a detective or something, and he's solving all these crimes. I'm sorry, he is Satan, and he's a police officer in the United States. Man, some things just write themselves, Gliss. Unbelievable. So much, man. We come back, we're gonna have a chance to play ball. I'm very excited about this segment here. Gliss is a lot.
It's a lot.
So oh boy, let me get it together and get ready. You guys are watching us on Backchannel.tv. We appreciate everybody checking us out. Chris and Amy and Kobe and Gary and everybody that is watching or listening on your Amazon supported device or watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much. Please tell your people to subscribe to Backchannel.tv and to hit the notification bell so you can know when all the shows are coming on. We'll be back in a bit. It is going to be time to play ball. See you in a second. This is The Drive. Welcome back, everybody, to Backchannel.tv. How you doing? I'm Mario. It's time to play ball. There's so much news in the world of sports. There is new news. Sean Payton is stepping down as the Saints coach because he's about to get that bag, son. He ain't trying to coach no football team. Why coach one when you can coach 32 on TV? What a
lot
move.
less stress too.
Yeah, man. Sean Payton's still young.
Yeah.
You know, former bear who busted the picket line. He's a strike bear. Quarterback. Wasn't that good? I remember that. Because I was like, man, wasn't he on the Scab team? He's coaching the Saints. Coached them for 16 years. It's a long time, man.
It's a good run.
That's a great run. Super Bowl or two in there. He is definitely stepping down as the Saints head coach, though. That is effective immediately, and it is rumored that the bag is going to go from Fox's hands to Sean Payton's hands. I've heard a couple of things about who might be his suitor, but it looks like it's going to be Fox. Would not be surprised if ESPN reared its head and tried to get him to. But you know where a great place for him to land, and I'm not trying to crack a joke, would be Amazon for the Thursday night show.
Yeah.
That would be a good move for them, for NFL Network and Amazon to have Sean Payton as the analyst. That would be solid. He's got to start somewhere. He's already. If we had to put them in the categories now, I think he's like the number 2 analyst in football, based off of his knowledge of every team in the league, and he's fresh. So he's really like still in the playbook on a lot of these teams. So it'll be very interesting to see how this ends up with Sean Payton, but that's huge news. Sean Payton is now is now a free agent essentially, and there's talk like today on Chicago Sports Radio. As soon as that happened, oh, well, Sean Payton can come and coach the Bears. Yeah, but you'd have to pay the Saints because he retired. He wasn't fired, so there's a compensation that would come toward the Saints' way. Here's a fun fact: the Bears have $4 billion. That's how much they're worth. $4 billion with a B. They could pay they could pay it. The compensatory anything if they wanted to. But I don't think he's going to happen. Not in Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, the Bears have just hired a new GM. Ryan Poles, 13 years with the Kansas City Chiefs, is now the new GM, and he's the Bears' first African-American GM. It is a huge story in Chicago right now. He's 36 years old. He was he was in Bears training camp a few years ago from Boston College. Didn't make the squad. Made it to the 53-man and got cut. He's been with the Kansas City Chiefs for 13 years. And this is a great development. My only hope is that the Bears really give him a chance to do his job. Let him run it. Of course, because I live in Chicago, I can't believe they hired a black man for this job. All afternoon today, it has been, I cannot believe this. I'm never going to a Bears game again. Yeah, you will. You got that personal seat license. You're going to every game. They could have an all black everything, and you're going. So stop it. You're going to listen to sports radio. You're going to go to the games. You're going to continue to be a Bears fan. They can move from downtown Chicago to the moon, and you're going to keep that personal seat license until everybody in your family is dead. You're going. I can't believe.
And if you don't, next person in line, they don't care.
They don't care. So that next person behind you could care less if that dude is black. They want him to do his job. I cannot believe that they hired a black. All day on Chicago Sports Radio. Do you hear me, Gliss? All day.
That's
all day.
I can't believe this. What in the world is going on here? And his name is Ryan, and it's P2. It's like Ryan Pace. I don't want that guy.
All day. It's been all day. But congratulations. It's super ridiculous. Congratulations to him. He hasn't been hired yet, but he is expected to be hired. And Jim Caldwell was walking in the building. And also you heard people, oh my God, not 2 blacks. Oh no. Help me. Oh no. Just screaming, yelling into their Italian beef sandwiches.
Don't forget who their quarterback is either.
Oh no, that's 3 blacks, 3. Oh no, help me.
like a house fell on him. It'll be fine. It's 2022. Let's see what the kid can do. I don't know if he's going to be good or not. My hope is that they let him do his job. I didn't care who the GM was because it's been so bad. I just wanted them to hire somebody that knew what they were doing. And it looks like this is the fourth job I think that he's been a finalist for. So that means people like him and people know who he is. The thing is his lack of experience because he's been with the Chiefs this whole time. But can we take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs?
I know. Yeah, that's like, come on. That's when you're part of the culture of something like that's been built from the ground up. Like, come on.
Hey,
this guy sounds highly qualified for the position, and if they believe in him, and they see something in him that they like, then
go for it.
For pulling the trigger on that. That's good hire.
Go for that's a great hire. And apparently, according to sources, the coaching decision that he makes will be his choice. George McCaskey had earlier said that all the hirings were his choice. But apparently, he has acquiesced and said that the GM, this new GM, will be making the decision. And where are the Bears going but up? Good Lord Almighty. Has anybody watched this past weekend? The Bears ain't playing. They weren't playing the weekend before that either. Let this happen.
I can't believe this. This is incredible. 3 blacks on one team. Oh my God. I don't know. Might not be going to any of these games.
Apparently, those people don't pay attention to the demographics.
In the world. They don't pay attention to the world.
I can't believe the. Wait a minute. He's what? Oh my God. I couldn't see past the helmet. Or his gloves on his hands. I didn't know.
And everybody in Chicago sounds like that except for me. I sound like that when the mic's not on. I sound exactly like that. Like everybody.
Revert back. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't believe it. You see the price of this bleach? Holy moly. Milk costs $20 a gallon.
Okay. I'm sorry. Major League Baseball news too, Gliss. Not necessarily breaking, but sources are saying that MLB has opened a pre-arbitration bonus pool for eligible players. The labor talks are continuing, and they're actually talking to each other and not fighting. Major League Baseball indicated for the first time that it's open to a pre-arbitration bonus pool during a labor meeting today with the MLBPA, the Players Association. But the sides remain far apart on how much should be distributed, according to sources familiar with the talks. MLB is offering $10 million in the pool, while the players want $105 million. They're off quite a bit. That's not close. They're off a lot.
I want the players. I want that also.
Hey, Bliss, I also want that. I think we have talked about a total of $80 billion today. I want that too. The money would be distributed to the top 30 pre-arbitration players based on wins above replacement WAR and awards such as the MVP and Cy Young awards. The offer marks at least a starting point for negotiations on that topic. MLB also offered to increase the starting minimum salary for first-year players from $600,000 to $615,000, but the players want what me and Gliss want also, a raise up to $775,000. The current minimum salary in Major League Baseball is $570,500. I got all these hats and crap, man. Come on. I know I'm 54, but I can do it still. Do they have can I sit down and play the outfield? Can I get a comfortable rolling chair? Oh, man. Go baseball, go. I hope it works out for everybody. But that's the latest. Baseball seems to be on it. Let's go. Let's get it. A very sad story from Africa at the Africa Cup of Nations, the football tournament. There was and I don't know if you remember seeing this stadium, the Olembe Stadium in Cameroon was part of the World Cup a few years ago. It's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah.
And there was apparently a gate wouldn't open, and there was a terrible event. 8 people killed, 38 injured at the Olembe Stadium. The crush occurred at the south entrance of the stadium as fans attempted to watch the round of 16 match, which ended in a 2-1 victory to Cameroon. If the gate was open, spectators would have walked through and it was closed for inexplicable reasons, CAF President Patrice Motsepe said during a press conference on Tuesday. Quote, if that gate was open as it was supposed to, we wouldn't have had this loss of life. Motsepe also vowed that such an incident will never happen again at an AFCON tournament, adding that there were things that should have been foreseen. He said there is zero tolerance, absolute zero tolerance in the circumstances which could result in people being injured at a stadium or losing their lives. It was also confirmed at the press conference that the AFCON quarterfinal, due to be played at Olembe Stadium on Sunday, will be moved to Amadou Adhijo Stadium in Yaoundé, subject to approval from CAF's executive committee. There was a thing like this that happened a while back in London too. It happens almost in every country apparently. Thank God it hasn't happened here yet. But in London, they had a south of the end of the stadium collapse, and a lot of people were crushed. You know, that's a sad story though. And as a big fan of football, and wanting to go to some of these matches one day, I don't like the idea of not being safe. And I want to make sure that I don't get in that kind of crush. But that's absolutely terrible. And that stadium was totally built to have a lot of bodies in it, and it's a shame that all those folks died and were hurt. Really sad. Hey, if you're a Patrick Ewing fan, you better know that Patrick Ewing knows this could be it for him at Georgetown. Georgetown hasn't won anything with Patrick Ewing being a coach. He he came in talking a lot, and they haven't done anything. On January 7th, Pat Ewing walked to the dais at Capital One Arena in Washington for a post-game media conference. Georgetown had just lost its Big East opener at home to Marquette, and he wasn't happy with the 28-point defeat. Quote, as a player who helped build this program, I am disappointed in my team's performance, said Ewing, of the 92-64 result, adding, everybody is on notice. This is not what Georgetown basketball is about. Ewing's sharp words for his team were those of a frustrated coach, but his next statement suggested that both he and the idling program he leads have reached a boiling point. Quote, Big John is rolling over in his grave for the performance that we showed tonight, close quote. Georgetown's could have been the best story in college basketball when it hired Ewing 5 years ago to continue the brand built by John Big John Thompson Jr. 50 years ago. Ewing was a giant for the school. In his 4 years there, he was a three-time consensus first-team All-American and four-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. But it's not about his playing credentials that are in question. Everybody knows Pat Ewing was a dope basketball player. And everybody has been talking about him being a coach for a long time, and he can't seem to break it to the NBA. This was his ground for him to show I can coach at the next level. And it hasn't happened for him yet. And it's talent more than anything. I mean, Georgetown has had some of the best basketball players in the world play for them. Allen Iverson dominated Georgetown basketball, maybe even more than those Georgetown teams in the late 70s, early 80s did. But the connection with Ewing and Georgetown and recruiting, because it all comes down to recruiting, Bliss, doesn't seem to be working for them. Why are they having trouble recruiting? Patrick Ewing is walking into your house to tell you, we want your son to play for us or for me. I don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think they could, you'd think they could get players there just based on their reputation as a program, a very historied program in college basketball, and literally one of the guys that helped kind of write that history as the head coach, and a very successful NBA career. It's kind of surprising he hasn't been able to do more. And like you said, I mean, he waited a long time. I believe he was with Orlando for quite a long time as an assistant coach. So, I mean, he's really, paid his dues in the NBA before he got this gig, trying to break into coaching. So, yeah, it's kind of surprising that he hasn't been able to do anything on the college level.
And again, I think a player, a young man trying to get into a program, it's one thing to see Mario Smith walk into your living room and say, hey, I want you to play for me. I'm coaching Georgetown. It's got to be another thing, though, to see a absolute Georgetown legend,
right?
Who could bring Dikembe Mutombo to your house, who could bring Allen Iverson to your house, and any one of those other great players that played for the Warriors into your living room and say, these dudes went there, you're as good as they are or were, come to Georgetown, and it's not working. And it hasn't worked since John Thompson left Georgetown, and his son coached Georgetown for a while, and it hasn't worked since he left. It's, I don't understand. Baseball Hall of Fame, here we go. The announcement will be made tonight. Is Ortiz going to make the Hall of Fame, Big Papi? Think he gets in?
I kind of feel like he will get in, but
I think so.
I mean, who knows?
I think Big Papi gets in.
For me, this is the problem with this whole argument, because let's be honest, he played in an era where there's a lot of things we don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think you're probably going to see Bonds get shut out. And so it's just kind of, this whole thing just feels wrong to me. I mean, I'm not advocating, the whole steroid era thing, but I've always been of the opinion that was a certain time period in baseball. Yes, the players have, personal responsibility in what they did or didn't do. But how can you tell me for sure? Like, I don't care what player you are. Like, how can you tell me for sure what guys were doing steroids and what guys were not? Right. To me, it like, I don't like the fact that they're shutting players out that they're, pretty sure, or I mean, in Bonds' case, I mean, it's pretty obvious that he did them. But at the same time, it was an era that was, there were so many people doing it, and he was still one of the top players. And I will say I'm a little biased. I'm a San Francisco Giants fan.
He was good before he ever put any steroids.
And that's my other argument for someone like Bonds. Bonds was a Hall of Famer before he put a needle in his arm. I mean, he had 3 MVPs. He was one of the, I believe, the only person, or on his way to be the only person with 400 stolen bases. Mm-hmm. And there's only three guys that have done it prior to that. I believe Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, his godfather. So I mean, yeah, he was a Hall of Famer before that. But I just don't like the mess that we've got ourselves in, where you have these baseball writers that are essentially playing the morality police and deciding which guy they think did it and which guy they didn't or they think is clean. And I don't like that. I think you take the era as it is and just say, hey, like, this is what it was. There was a lot of people doing steroids or taking illegal substances, but these are the best of the best from that era.
You gotta let them in. I mean, to me, they all get in. Sosa gets in, Bonds gets in, Clemens gets in. Yeah, I wouldn't put Schilling anywhere near a Hall of Fame, let alone a buffet, because I don't like him. But I mean, A-Rod, even though I think A-Rod should never ever do a Major League Baseball broadcast again, he's just funny. But A-Rod definitely should be in at some point.
Yes.
696 home runs, 2,000 runs, 3 MVPs for A-Rod.
At some point, talent has to come into the equation, and to me, it's just going to look silly if you have certain guys in, and then here's A-Rod and Barry Bonds, who were 2 of the most dominant players to ever play the sport in the modern era, sitting on the sidelines. It just doesn't look right to me. Like, no. I don't like it. I get what people are trying to do, but I just don't think that the people voting are the ones that should, make the decision as to whether those players did it the right way or not.
Yeah. Andrew Jones is another player that I think should be in the Hall of Fame, and he may not get in. I'm also looking at the Billy Wagners of the world.
Yeah.
A great baseball player. Probably won't get in. Hall of Fame is very subjective, man. It's also, for most cases, the Hall of why are you here? And I think I can make a case for all of them. And even though I know people hate Sammy Sosa, and I'm not a big Sammy Sosa fan, even though he did play at one time for my beloved White Sox, and he played for I can't remember the name of that team, the Cubs. That's what they call him. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He literally him and Mark McGwire also should probably be in, carried Major League Baseball on their back at a time when people were leaving and not watching the sport. they made it interesting. That's one of the most interesting summers that has ever happened in baseball.
In
And
sports, I mean, it was
sport, yeah.
electrifying. Just like it was like one of those things you had to tune in every single day to Sports Center to see, to see if they hit a home run or not. And it was totally captivating as a baseball fan and just as a general sports fan.
Yeah, I still contend that's one of the most exciting summers I've ever seen ever in baseball. And it meant that I had to watch the Cubs play and the Cardinals, two teams that I really could if they weren't there, I wouldn't notice.
Yeah, I actually, that summer, my parents brought me to Candlestick Park to see the Cardinals play. And I mean, he didn't hit McGuire didn't hit a home run in that game, but we got there before batting practice, and just the buzz, even before he even walked onto the field, for people wanting to see him take batting practice. I mean, it was, you'll never see something like that again in baseball.
Ever. And if you do see it again, you should take a picture of it, because that's going to be a long time before you get that amount of talent. And even though it was steroid filled, that amount of talent on the baseball diamond, Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, A-Rod, all those cats played at the same time. And unfortunately for people like Barry Bonds, he's not going to probably make the Hall of Fame, but he should. And if he doesn't make it in the Hall of Fame from when he was a Giant, he could absolutely make it from when he was a Pittsburgh Pirate. He did work as a member of the Pirates, and it's horrifying that he's not going to get in the Hall of Fame. He has the most home runs ever, and he won't get in the Hall of Fame because of steroids. Because people enabled him, allowed him to do it, and then looked the other way. And then all of a sudden, the baseball purists were like, well, he can't be in because he had steroids in his body. But Mickey Mantle and many others drank themselves into ether playing baseball.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's not other players in history who have done, bad things. I mean, it's like, and you're kind of hammering my point home, because it really was it was a foundational problem for the game of baseball. Yes, individual players made decisions, but let's not get it twisted. Like, it was prevalent in the game. And let's also think about the fact that Mark McGuire was hitting home runs off of pitchers that were juiced also. So I mean, like,
doesn't that cancel each other out?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
he's on steroids and I'm on steroids, I hit a home run off of him.
Yeah. Not that it makes it right, but again, it's just like, I think you have to look at the era as a whole, instead of pointing the finger at this guy and that guy and saying, oh, this guy, we're cool with this guy because we don't have any evidence on him. But it's a bad look.
Real quick, Aaron Rodgers is saying that his timing on whether he and Davante Adams, because he might be a package deal, the timing on whether both will return to the Green Bay Packers could happen almost simultaneously. Rodgers originally said he would likely have a decision by the time free agency begins, which is in March, on March 16th, but he offered the possibility that it could be even sooner. If the Packers are going to use the franchise tag on Davante Adams, the all-pro receiver, they can do it as early as February 22nd, but no later than March 8th. Rodgers has already said he doesn't want to be part of a rebuild and likely considers anything without Adams to be just that. And likewise for Adams, he would almost certainly prefer to be able to explore his options if Rodgers doesn't return to the Packers. Quote, I'd like to be respectful of the organization, Rodgers said Tuesday on the Pat McAfee show. Quote, one decision that will be upcoming will be obviously Davante and his future with the team. They're still in this thing called a franchise tag. He doesn't know what the damn franchise tag is, which I don't think 17 wants the franchise. I think there should be enough time to make a decision by then. I don't want to put myself on a specific date, but I do want to be sensitive to Davante and many other guys who have decisions to make on their own futures. To drag it out past free agency would be disrespectful to the organization and to those guys, and that 100% will not happen. There's also the salary cap implications to consider. The Packers sit $44.8 million over their projected salary cap for the 2022 season, and that's without Adams. Hey, Davante Adams. Hi, Mario Smith here. Come to the Bears, bro. We got a new GM. We got a really good quarterback that's young. They're not totally rebuilding. You can come on in. You could start today. You could be number one wide receiver. And you still be in the NFC. You can even still live up in Green Bay if you want, but Chicago's nicer. Come on down, Devontae. Don't worry about what Aaron Rodgers is doing. You don't need him. You've already proven that you made him look good. Don't make someone else look good. Thanks. I'm Mario Smith. That's my open letter to Devontae to come be a Bear. Bears got money. They don't have picks. They got plenty of money. They can spend some money. We come back, Bliss, front of mind, as we turn the corner on this wonderful show. Appreciate you guys being here. By the way, Joyce, you hopped on yesterday and I wasn't able to say hi to you because I saw you at the end. I'm glad you came back. And Elizabeth, I'm glad that you're here. And Kobe, I'm glad that you came back. Everybody, thank you so much for being a part of the drive. Thanks for being passengers in this car of love. We will see you guys in a second. We'll be back with more as we round out the show. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. Welcome back. Hey, there you are. Welcome back, everybody, to The Drive. I'm Mario Smith. And we leave you tonight with a very encouraging story. After all that we've talked about today, I think it's only fair that we leave you with something that will encourage you and give you something nice to think about. 19-year-old Sarah Rutherford has made a bag of records after completing a 32,000-mile, 52,000 kilometer circumnavigation of the Earth. Okay, here's a word for you. It's in Belgium, landing at Kortrijk Wevelgem Airport in Western Belgium on Thursday. She became the youngest woman and first Belgian to fly solo around the world, as well as the first person ever to do it in an ultralight aircraft. It took her 155 days. The previous youngest ever woman to accomplish the celebrated feat of aviation was American Shasta Weiss, who also founded a nonprofit called Dreams Soar, which Rutherford was supporting on her long journey. A funny twist of fate saw the two Globetrotters united on a stopover. That's interesting. And her crab looks good too. I'm having all kinds of, here we go. Rutherford made the 41 country crossing to inspire more women and girls to entering other STEM fields, but obviously in particular aviation. Remarkably, 5.1% of pilots are women. She described the occupation to CNN last year as, quote, a career where you basically get paid to travel around the world, close quote. She's also supporting the nonprofit Girls Who Code. It wasn't all sailing for the 160-mile ultralight aircraft, and both extreme weather and visa difficulties took their toll on the plane and the pilot. Originally planned for 3 months in 52 countries, the route had to be changed due to unscheduled landings, such as to avoid wildfires in California and a denial for crossing permission over China. Quote, I would say the hardest part was definitely flying over Siberia. It was extremely cold. It was minus 35 degrees Celsius on the ground. Rutherford said during a press conference last week, Thursday, if the engine were to stall, I'd be hours away from rescue, and I don't know how long I could survive that. Rutherford was piloting the carbon fiber and epoxy Shark Arrow, one of the fastest ultralight aircraft in the world, built by specialists and modified for the rigors of circumnavigation. Um, I must say, I am neither pilot or passenger of many airplane rides. That is one of the most things I've ever heard of, and dangerous. And she knocked it out. You can do anything. There's nothing that can't be done. The impossible is indeed possible, and every other cliche that I can possibly think of. And that's a good way to end the news portion of our afternoon. Let's listen to some or take some let's take heed to some things that happened. Did you know that houseplants were bought more often than usual during the COVID-19 pandemic? 41 is the average age when people start taking vitamins in order to get healthy. So wait a minute, man. All these Flintstone vitamins, people are waiting till 41. I don't believe that. An alarm clock is one of the top 3 inventions we say we hate but can't live without. You got an alarm clock, Bliss? Yes.
On my phone.
4 children.
Yeah.
I got 4.
That's actually accurate because I do have one on my phone, but it usually goes off after I'm already awake. So
I got an old school clock radio and my phone, and they go off at different times. She's not watching. I have a lady friend who has, I swear to God, 100 alarms. They all go off like 2 minutes apiece until she actually wakes up.
I used to do that. I used to produce a morning show, and
oh my God.
Yeah, I had to get there at like 4 a.m. So my alarm was at like 3:20 in the morning, and I literally, because I would freak out. And not only that, there's no one else there. It's like literally just the morning show crew. So, I'd always have to make sure I had my key card to get in the building, and it was, the first month or two, I was always just like super nervous that I was going to somehow sleep through one of my 20 alarms, but it's pretty early to be getting up.
Well, yeah, and yeah. Oof, gosh, I mean, if you could have, I have to go into detail with you later about how irritating it was that each one of these alarms would wake me up, and I didn't want to get up. Right. I was like, hey, aren't you up yet? I want to continue. On this day in 1988, President Bush, that would be Bush the first, and Dan Rather have a loud on-camera encounter over the Iran-Contra affair on the CBS Evening News. On this date in 1994, President Clinton delivered his first State of the Union address promising forceful effort to enact health and welfare reform and a ban on assault weapons. Well, all of that worked. In 1998, the Denver Broncos defeat the Green Bay Packers. 34-27 in Super Bowl 32. It was the first victory for the AFC in 13 years. Remember that game very well. On this date in 2003, Marcus Allen is elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Etta James, Richard Finch from Casey and the Sunshine Band, and Alicia Keys all celebrate birthdays today. In music history, oh boy, in 1979, YMCA by the Village People is certified platinum. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. And how come I don't remember this? Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, and Diana Ross performed during halftime at Super Bowl 32. Oh, I know why I don't remember it. Never mind. We don't have to talk about that. And one more
of those games, huh?
Yeah, it was a game I don't remember except for the end. At least 3 California high school students were hospitalized after participating in a viral social media challenge that involved eating a mega spicy chip. The school district confirmed some of the students from Lodi High School near Sacramento needed medical attention after eating the pepper-laced potato chip as part of the One Chip Challenge. Adam Arbach, the school principal, told Insider, the challenge created by the brand Pocky involves people eating a single super spicy chip. The chip contains Carolina Reaper and scorpion peppers. Are you crazy? According to Pocky's website, and is described by the company as one eye-watering, curse-inducing chip made with the hottest peppers on the planet. The challenge also includes holding off from drinking water or eating anything else, according to the brand's website. The California Reaper pepper has been found to be over 2 million Scoville units. Oh. The challenge is very popular online with people who are stupid. That part's not in the story. The hashtag OneChips Challenge has over 475 million views on TikTok in total, with the most popular clips amassing millions of views and likes. It's also a major trend on YouTube with big influencers like FaZe Rug and Luke Did That. I don't know who these people are. Have uploaded videos showing them completing the challenge. Gliss, I ain't doing a one-chip challenge.
No, I'm good too. I mean, when the descriptive words are Reaper and Scorpion, that's not stuff I'm eating.
And 2 million Scoville units, that is more than hot.
I like spicy food, but come on now. What are you trying to do to yourself?
Trying to kill yourself. That's what you're trying to do. Hey, man, thanks for hanging out today, Gliss. Truly appreciate it, brother. We will be back tomorrow with more of The Drive. Thanks to everybody who listened on their Amazon supported device and watched us on YouTube. As the sun sets in Chicago, Illinois, it's me, Mario Smith, saying good night. Have a great, great evening. Be easy, be safe. If you're in the Chicago area, stay warm, please. Peace.